Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana. It's Tuesday morning and the sun is shining for a change, which is awesome. I even had to close my blinds before I started because there was sun on my work table, and I love that. I love to have to somewhat close my blinds a little bit just to block out the sun just for a moment, and then I'll open them again because you don't want to see a big spot of sunshine pooling on my work surface. It's very distracting. So I'm so glad that some of you are joining me today. It is a great day. We have a lot going on in October. We have a great new starter kit special, and I'm going to be talking about this all month long because it is such a good deal, and it's kind of your entryway into getting all of your Stampin' Up! Supplies on a discount. And so you have two choices. The starter kit's always a great deal, but it's an even better deal the month of October. This kit special started today. So let me put up, if you want to find out more about it after I've talked, I'm going to put up this little link, cubiesquest.com/join, and that's where you need to go if you want to check out all the written information. But basically there are two options. It's Stampin' Up's 35th anniversary, so that's why the number 35 is going to feature prominently here. So you can either get the starter kit 35% off, that's option one, so it's normally $99, and you can now get the starter kit for $64.35. I believe that's the correct number. It's right about there, $64.35. And you can still get your normal amount of product in your starter kit, so you still get $125 worth of product for $64.35 and free shipping. So it's just like a no-brainer of a deal. Or if you have like a lot of things that you want to put on the starter kit that you want right away, then option two will be for you. The starter kit will be the regular price of $99, but you're going to get 35% more product in the starter kit. And I need to write down these numbers. I'm going to check them in the background real quick because this is just such a new sale. I have to, because it's 35% more. It's like not the number, like not a nice even number, but it is 35% more. So you'll get $168.75 of product for only $99. So those are both great options. Both of those starter kits ship for free. So it's just an awesome deal. And I would love to have you join my team. So if you want to go check it out, go to my website. If you have any questions, please email me. I'm always here to answer your questions. So that is the first thing that's going on. Then we have a new host code for October, so I'm going to put that up on my screen right here. It's the one right here that starts with the letter U. And this month the gift is going to be the speckled dots. And that's a little peek at them right there. If for some reason the gift is not available when I go to order it, I will substitute with something of equal or greater value. But you need to spend at least $50 using the October 2023 host code to get the gift. All right, I am going to close all of those down. And let's talk about today's card. So Casing Tuesday, that means like we're copying a card. Oh, shoot. I forgot to pull up my card. I was so good this morning. I pulled up everything except my cards. So let me just pull them up here real quick. There's always several components to every setup that I need to do, and sometimes it's going to come up really big. Sometimes I forget one of those things, as organized as I try to be. So here is the card of the day. And remember, when you're building these cards, if you have extra layers that you don't need, you can delete them. You don't have to follow the sketch exactly. And you'll see later on that I did not follow the sketch exactly. And then let me pull up the other, the sketch. And this is probably also going to come up big. Here we go. Here's the sketch. We'll make it a little smaller. So these sketches and photos are also available on our Casing Tuesday Facebook group. And if you want more information about that, you can look down below in the description of the video. And they're also available on my blog, so that's where you can find everything. And the link for my blog post should be down below. So those are the different layers. Sometimes people have trouble with the crooked layer. I have trouble with the crooked layer, so I deleted mine. It's not in the in my sketch today. I also deleted this little skinny layer up top there. I just, for what I ended up doing, it just did not look right. So, you know, I just had to delete it. My greeting was a little bit differently sized than the original one, so it just didn't look quite right. So just go ahead and make the card your own. Start off with a sketch and then see what you come up with. And then you can post it on our Facebook group. And I'm going to do mine later on. So we have a few people already joining us this morning. We have Ellie from Connecticut, and Mary, and Tracy from Maine, and Deborah from Virginia Beach, and Nina from California, and Rhonda, and Marty from Pittsburgh, who also has sunshine. And some of them are my team members. And big welcome to my team members and my customers and my followers. If you're not already a demonstrator, it's a good time to join. And just one thing about being getting the starter kit: you don't have to sell, you don't have to do classes. You can be your own best customer, and you can just enjoy getting the discounts on the products you buy. Kind of like having like a Costco membership, right? You don't have to sell the Costco products. You just get a nice discount on the products that you do buy. So that is like how I try and think of the starter kit. All right. Oh, I forgot to turn on my other camera. That would help. One more thing I forgot. So we're going to pop over to my other camera and we're going to make this card. And I wanted to point out, today we are going to be using the Merriest Trees bundle. Closing the stamp set there. Okay, here's the stamp set. Okay, and you'll want to get that so you can stamp these beautiful trees. And then here are the dies. I put these on magnet sheets. And these dies and the stamp set, you're going to need them for my Friday project, because I am going to be making a 3D project from this bundle on Friday. So if you haven't, I know a bunch of you have already gotten this bundle. You see the potential in it as much as I do. So if you haven't already gotten it, definitely think about getting it, because I love it already. Okay, I think I'm ready to switch cameras now. All right, let's pop over here. Okay, here's my card for today. You know what? I know some of you may not love Martha Stewart, but way back when I first got married, Martha Stewart was really big. And these are kind of her colors, the blue greens. And you know what? I also do really love the blue green look. So this card really reminds me of her color scheme, which I kind of like, because it's kind of like a soothing, mellow Christmas. But you could do the same card with brighter colors as well. But oh, look, it kind of matches my shirt a little bit too, doesn't it? I planned it that way, right? Oh, and one thing, look at this dazzle paper. I can't say enough good things about this. This is called More Dazzle. And I forgot that I had it, and I was looking for some beautiful foil paper to use for my stars. So I'm digging through my specialty paper, and I come across this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot I had this. So this paper, it looks like a disco ball. I should call it the disco ball paper. But it comes in 2 colors. So you get this a silvery color, and then you also get this gold color. So it's just awesome. You can die cut it or punch it, or use it in strips, or it's just really cool, and it can build these nice little accents. Look how pretty that star is right there. I also use, this is an online exclusive that goes really well. You won't find this in the catalog. It's the gold and silver trim combo pack. You get both a silver and a gold, so it's not, it goes really well with this paper. And so that's what I used for the ribbon on here. I just used the silver one, but the gold's also available. So if you do gold accents, you have gold trim to work with them. And then I just used rhinestone jewels for a few of them scattered on top. So I've kind of got that silver-esque look. So we're going to make this card right now. And I'm going to start with the card base. I'm just using thick basic white cardstock. This piece is 11 inches by 4 1/4. And I scored it in half at the 5 1/2 inch mark. And then I'm just flattening it out with my bone folder so it stays nice and flat. Oh, I cut some of this paper, which you will also love. This is called A Walk in the Forest. And this paper is really cool because on the reverse, on this side of some of the papers, you do have trees. So you could actually theoretically cut out the trees from this paper to use on the card front as well. And so I use this paper here. It's got these little trees on the back. And this is a fundraiser paper. So a few dollars from every sale of that paper goes towards charity. This piece right here measures 4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. The reason I did 4 inches, I could have done 4 1/4 and come right across, but if you do 4 inches, you can get 6 cards out of one sheet of designer series paper, and if you do 4 1/4, you can only get 4. So I thought I would make best use by only cutting this to 4, and I don't mind having that extra white on either side. So I'm just going to take this and glue this down. And I'll just center it from side to side. All right. That's part 1. Then I'm going to take this piece. This is 2 3/4 by 4 1/2, I believe. Let me grab my ruler real quick. I think it's 4 1/2. Yeah, 4 1/2. And this piece isn't going to have anything stamped on it, so we can go ahead and just glue it down right away. Technically, sometimes you can stamp the tree right down or stamp your image right on this piece, but I am going to be die cutting my piece because I'm not using the full size of tree, and otherwise I would have this tree coming off the edge and it wouldn't quite fit on this piece. So I'm going to die cut this and make this a little bit smaller, so it's going to be not stamped right directly on here. All right, we need to do some stamping now, so I'm going to set this aside. We'll start off by stamping the tree. This one you can stamp, you can kind of see, you can this one you could just stamp on its own if you want. You don't have to stamp the detail over top, but so you have options. I'm going to stamp it in 2 colors, Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock. I'll start off by inking up this bigger stamp. And you know what? I just inked this up for the first time and I didn't clean the stamp. So it's kind of got some little characteristics to it. Like it's not 100% even. Like I'm going to show you in just a second. When you get your stamps, you should, before you stamp them for the first time, especially a big bold one like this, you should clean it off. So I'm going to just do this. I'm cleaning it off on my chamois on the side. Okay, so we'll let that sit for just a second to dry, and maybe I'll get another piece of cardstock to see if we get a more even stamping. This is also going to dry in a little bit. The Lost Lagoon ink pad is one of my newer ink pads, and it's got a lot of ink on it. So I could also take a paper towel and take a little bit off of that, which would help with the coverage. But I actually kind of like this look, so I didn't discourage it. So I like that it's not 100% like clear and perfect, because it actually makes it look more like a realistic tree. So that's why I didn't clean it right after I noticed that the first time. Let me grab this and let me see if I can get a better stamping once I've got this cleaned off. So I'm just trying, you know what this ink pad's problem is? It's the, it's got a lot of ink on it. So I'm gonna show you. Normally I use a paper towel. I know my tissues aren't too linty and they don't have any cream or anything on them. You know how sometimes tissues have lotions on them? So I'm just going to put this on here, and I'm going to take off some of that ink. Okay, so when I go to ink this up, it's not going to have quite as much ink on it. I'm trying to get it so it doesn't have lines on it from my ink pad. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this now. So this one, will probably dry with less lines in it than my other one. And as I use this, this will also have less ink on it. So then we're going to take our pretty peacock one and come across here like this. It's a delicate balance sometimes with ink and stamps. And as you can see, this one, even my first one, has dried to a more even color because some areas of your ink pad will just naturally have a little bit more ink on them. So when this one dries, it's going to mellow out and smooth as well. Okay. All right, we'll set these aside for now. We only need one of these. And the other thing I want to do, we're going to do an experiment too with the greening. So I stamped first and then cut, but I want to see if it's easier to do it the other way around. So let's go ahead and I'm going to just stamp the greeting in Pretty Peacock on here. And then we'll do another one. We'll cut a banner and we'll see which one is easier to do. All right, time to bring in the die cutting machine. I'm bringing in my big machine because this is going to be too, I think it's going to be too wide. It's going to be really close in terms of It might just fit through the mini emboss machine. I think you have up to 3¼ inches, but I feel like for this project, it's easier to use. You'd have to really cut your piece of paper right almost to the edge of the tree if you wanted it to go through your mini emboss. So because I like making projects with negative space, sometimes I think this die set would work better with the big machine. So I've got my base platform number 1, thin die adapter number 2. I'm going to grab a clear base plate and another one for the top. We'll move one of the clear plates out. We're going to put this down and we'll grab the tree. So normally I'd want the full-size tree, but for my card that's not going to do it. So I'm going to use the smaller, second largest tree, and we'll just come in with a piece of this labeling and cover up tape, or you can use a top of a Post-it. I'm going to just arrange this on here, and when that looks good, I'm just going to stick it down. We'll take our greeting, and you know what? I'm going to just do, so I don't have to watch both things. I want to do a blank banner, and we'll see how it goes, which one does better, if I do the stamping after or before. All right, so we'll peel this up. So now I've got this a smaller, slightly smaller tree than what I stamped, and it looks wonderful. And then I've got a banner. We're gonna practice stamping on that. We're gonna come back, and this time I'm going to put the banner right around this piece, and I'm going to pin it down. And then I also want to do a star. So I've got that, and we've got different stars to choose from. Like I could have done this star. This is the biggest bold star. I could have done these smaller ones too, but I wanted the paper to show. And if I cut with the little smaller ones, I don't know if these sparkles would have stayed the way I wanted them to. I don't think it would have shown this paper to its best advantage. Oops. I'll shift it a bit. Alright. Let's run both of those through. Okay. So to get this one out, you're going to need like a thumbtack, a pin, or a piercing tool. Take your pick tool. There's my little star. And then got this. Carefully peel it off. And there is the banner. This is stamping first and then die cutting. That seems to work pretty well. I didn't get a chance to try it in reverse, so we're gonna give it a little whirl right now and see how it looks if I stamp afterwards. So we'll see if that works just as well as the other one. So let's spring this in pretty peacock. I'm a little worried about the dots and whether or not they would fill with color. Let's give this a whirl and see. So what I would say, let's have a quick look at these. I think I would say that stamping first, which is this one, works a little bit better. Oops, now I've thrown both of them down. Because when you're stamping afterwards and you get too close to the holes, I can see the hoping is a little bit closer to the holes, and it kind of got in the holes a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. I think you have just a slightly better chance of having a clear image if you stamp first and then die cut. You just have to be careful that your die stays stationary and doesn't shift on cutting. So pin it down with a little bit of post-it note tape or a post-it note. All right, well that solves that for that particular greeting. All right, so now we've got a bunch of pieces that we need to add to the card. This is going to kind of come up here like this. Got the star. I've got some ribbon trim that I tied earlier. So I'll start off with the tree. Put some glue on that. And I'm going to center this down at the bottom right here. Notice how I deleted this back layer. I tried it, but because of my stripes in the background, because of my paper, it did not look good. So, you know, sometimes you have to make creative decisions, and so that piece was eliminated. I'm going to take a mini dimensional and stick it on the back of my star, just so it pops off the card. Just a little bit. And I'll put that right about there. Love, love, love the dazzle paper. The More Dazzle, it's called. And then I'll grab my banner. And I'll just have it coming off just a bit. And I also did not add that extra piece of paper up at the top. I decided that I didn't really like that. The bow on the card was up here, but I don't like the positioning on that because of the stars, so I thought I would move it down here. So this ribbon trim has a lot of shiny surfaces, so you could use a mini glue dot, or what I did was I took my tear and tape and I cut a little section of it, and then I cut it in half lengthwise, so I'll have a little piece left over. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to use these two pieces on the back loops of the bow, just to give it a little bit more sticky surface area than a mini glue dot would. Or you could use more than one mini glue dot, but this might be a little bit easier to work with, I think. So I'm peeling off the backing now. And then I'll just kind of put it like that on the tree. And then if I can find my rhinestones, they are under here. I haven't used rhinestones in a long time, and you know I do love rhinestones. They used to be my go-to. Now it's the iridescent ones, but for this card I thought rhinestones might work just a wee bit better. So I'm just going to take a few of these and add them just around the card, just to give it a little bit of sparkle factor. And there we go. Pretty easy peasy cards like that. One of the things I like the most is the dazzle paper, because it catches light and reflection in different ways. It just, that little pack of paper could go a long way. It's there's 8 sheets, so you get 4 of the silver color, or they call it champagne, and 4 of the golden paper. So you can make, like, you could cut a lot of stars or a lot of things out of this paper, or use it. I think personally, I would use this paper as like accents, like a little strip of this, or punch shapes or die cuts, because a little goes a long way. So this pack could really do a lot of cards. If you were making a bunch of these Christmas cards, it would go a really long way, if you were just doing stars out of it, right? So love, love, love this paper. And the Merriest Trees bundle, because I will be using the bundle coming up on Friday. So I hope you'll come join me on YouTube on Friday to see what I'm cooking up for Friday. All right. I'm back over to all of you. Don't forget my host code. I just read a comment that made me laugh. I'll read it in just a second. So there's my host code. Remember, spend $50 in the month of October and you will get my gift of the month. Please use the host code. Rhonda said, Costco with Brenda as your personal guide. I love that. You know, I don't have a Costco membership because I get distracted by all the cool stuff that they have, and I buy things that I don't really need. Also, it's just the two of us right now, and even when it was like the three of us with Nicholas here, you have to store like a lot of paper towels and toilet paper if you're going to be buying that amount of stuff. So for my small family, it's a lot of stuff to store. Like I don't need a jar of peanut butter the size of my head. Although maybe my husband would like that. He loves peanut butter. But you know what I mean? Like it's just too much for me. So I early on in our marriage, we had a Costco membership, but I have not had one since. Okay. One thing though with Costco, my dad who passed away a few years ago, he loved Costco. So whenever he would come to visit, we would do a Costco trip. And of course I would buy some things on his, like getting the Costco membership in the door. So I always remember that when I go to Costco, I think of my dad because he loved it. He loved taking photos. So he would have them all back then, like we developed photos and stuff, letting them sit on our smartphones. So he would go and get the photo processing done at Costco. And so I always have fond memories of Costco because of him. That was a nice aside. All right. Marty said, plus Brenda's team is wonderful, welcoming, and friendly. Thank you. Yeah, we have a team meeting once a month. We have team stamping night. We just had one this past week. And so we usually do a mystery card. And so, yeah, we have great fun on our team. And I love my team members. They are wonderful. And it's just a really nice team. Like we just... yeah, I guess that's all I can say. It's just they're great. Good morning, Janine, and good morning, Dee. Oh, you have hot, humid, and cloudy. Wow, that's quite a bit for the central part of the U.S. At this time of year, right? Dee said, great tip for dabbing off the excess on the ink pads. It works even better, I think, with paper towels, but I don't have paper towels in my room. I probably should. But I just had tissues. So Ellie says, yes, let's hear it for the big die cutter. It doesn't get enough love. Yeah, you know what? If I only had a choice, I'd have to have the big die cutting machine because I do like cutting holes out of my card bases, and a card base will not fit through the mini machine. So if I have a choice, I need that big one. The small one is really nice if you are going somewhere and you know you don't need the full size machine. It's very portable. It's much lighter than the big machine, and because it's the base is smaller. So there are reasons for both of them, and but the big machine, I need it for doing those special things that I love to do, like boxes and 3D objects often require me to run them through the big shop. Marty says she needs to get some dazzle paper. Yes, you do. It's dazzling. It's awesome. Janine has a good point. Is that the same paper that was in Celebration last year or so? You know what? I'm not 100% sure. It looks really similar, but I think that paper only had the silver. So I don't know. I don't know if I ever managed to get that paper because it sold out so quickly. So this one's called More Dazzle, and it comes in the two colors, the champagne and the gold. And I don't remember if the Celebration one came in that, and I don't know if it's any different. I do like it. I think it did a really fantastic job. Let me get rid of some of this stuff on my screen so I can show you better. So I do think it did a really good job when it got die cut, and it didn't, like the little sparkles didn't flake off the tips of my stars. So I really like the way this one cut. I think that other paper got sold out so quickly that I just didn't even have time to earn it or promote it. So I'm not 100% sure. Marty said, does the dazzle paper still sparkle if you add some Stampin' Blends? You know what? The one thing with adding Stampin' Blends, I'm going to switch to my other camera. Let's pull this down. You know, we can, where did my little strip go? Since I've got some little pieces here, let's do a dark color, because I find if I'm coloring on an embellishment, you want to be really careful because it's lumpy bumpy, right? So I'm just going to color a section in here. This might take a little bit of time to dry. See, I think what this is doing mainly is it's coloring the background. So you want to be really careful that if you use it like this, that you don't break down your brush tip. I'll see how it works with my bullet tip. I'm using the Pretty Peacock Dark. Okay, let's let that air dry for a second. Wave it around in the air. I'm gonna grab a tissue. Or no, you know what I'm gonna do rather than a tissue? I'm gonna grab a little piece of cardstock. Make sure it's dry, because when it's on something metallic, and then I'm gonna blot it off and see if that stuff, okay, it actually didn't blot off too much. So there is some Pretty Peacock on there. So what happens, I'm gonna hold it and twist it, is mainly I think the color gets added to the paper that's behind the sparkles. So I think it can be tinted. So I would definitely experiment with that and see. So you can color it. Just be really careful with your Stampin' Blends so you don't mess up, especially your brush tip. You don't want to mess that up. Okay, back over to you. I hope that Rhonda says that makes her think of snakeskin. Yes, yes, it does, like the bluish color on the background. Yeah, it kind of does. It's kind of cool. Maybe I can show it better here. See, you can see that center spot between the stars where I added the Pretty Peacock. It does kind of look like snakeskin, doesn't it? It's probably where they got the idea for the pattern. Some of the best inventions come straight from nature, right? So many things that we can learn by exploring nature. Marty said it might work nicely for a candle flame. Yes. And remember, there is gold in that pack as well. So a golden candle flame would look really nice on a menorah, maybe. Would look really cool. So, yeah. All right. Well, I hope you all have a great week, and I will be back on Friday on YouTube at 10 a.m. Eastern with Merriest. What is it called? Merriest something. Merriest Trees. Gosh, it didn't take me long to forget the name. The Merriest Trees bundle will be featured on Friday's project. So I'll see you then. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.